Yeah. Can I follow up?
Sure.
Are you aware of, like,
Reports that allege that Palmyra was retaken by ISIS? You have
Yeah,
that?
I've seen
Okay.
press
Now-
reports about it, Saeed. I'm not in a position to.
But you don't have any information because the Russians are claiming, the spokesman for the Ministry of Defense, Igor Konashenkov, said that the reason they were able to do it because the alliance apparently stopped their bombardment of Raqqa. So thousands of fighters were able to make their way to Palmyra, Tadmor.
But the
So-
alliance, you mean the coalition?
Right, the coalition. I'm
Well,
sorry,
look,
the coalition. I meant to say the coalition.
there's a
So-
lot there. First, I can't confirm the press reports about the degree to which the so-called Islamic State is or is not in possession of Palmyra. I've seen reporting that says that the attacks are ongoing. I've seen reporting that it's been complete. I don't know. Secondly, the isolation operations in and around Raqqa continue. I would refer you to my Defense Department colleagues to speak to that with greater clarity. But nobody has lost focus on continuing to pursue this this goal of liberating Raqqa, and everything I've seen this morning is that the isolation operations continue. So claims that we somehow stopped supporting SDF forces in terms of trying to further isolate Raqqa is just not true.
So, are you worried about this apparent hydraulic effect that it could happen? They could leave Mosul and go elsewhere in Iraq or in Syria. They could leave Raqqa and go elsewhere in
Daesh?
Syria. Daesh, yes, because
I've
the
never heard
numbers,
it referred to as a
we
hydraulic
speak-
effect.
I mean, you know that you press, yeah, you
Fluid situation. Now I get it.
Yeah,
All right, no,
you
so
press here, it
that
goes
was a
there.
history
You know what I'm
major.
saying?
So,
Yeah,
look, I mean-
we're talking about like 4,000 and maybe hundreds of vehicles.
I mean, throughout this entire military campaign, and I don't want to revisit the history here, but we've been mindful that as they get pressured and pushed, they go elsewhere. I mean, that's not something we haven't seen before. When they do, and when they are vulnerable in doing it, we try to take as much advantage of that as possible. I don't know, Saeed, whether as we continue to work with forces on the ground in Syria in isolating Raqqa, where they will go, but we're obviously mindful that some of them, many of them, may choose to leave. We saw that in the run-up to Mosul. We saw Daesh fighters decide on their own to leave, even against the orders of some of their leaders who were trying to get them to stay. Now, and some of the hardliners will stay, no doubt about that. I don't know what that mix is going to look like, and I can't possibly predict where they'll go, but we have seen in the past where they have sought refuge elsewhere. What I will tell you is this. As we have done elsewhere in Iraq and in other places in Syria, the coalition will stay focused on eliminating them as a threat and degrading and defeating their capabilities. Now, the Pentagon had some numbers out there yesterday. I quoted to an anonymous military official. I'm not in a position to confirm, but we know for sure that tens of thousands of their fighters have been eliminated. We know for sure that hundreds of their leaders have been killed and taken off the battlefield. We know that we have dried up their revenue sources. We know they're having trouble recruiting. We know they're having trouble retaining. It doesn't mean that they aren't still a threat. It doesn't mean that they still don't have fighters who are willing to succumb to this pernicious narrative of theirs, this ideology. But we will stay focused on it. And the other thing I'd say is whether Palmyra has been attacked or not, whether it has been taken or not, let's just assume that it has been. It would be the first thing geographically that they have been able to reacquire or acquire, period, since May of 2015. So, I mean, again, I don't know if it's true that they're doing it, but this is a group that is very much in trouble, and they know it.
So you say it's possible that some of these fighters came from Mosul?
I don't know. I can't rule it out, Brad.
Okay.
What we knew that some would leave Mosul, but as I said, where they went and what they did, I just don't think we know that.
And then since you brought up